Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins.
and you're on the air with Power Squared. This week, we're going to talk about some finishing touches we're doing on issues 16 through 19, the ones that we're planning on trying to release in 2023. And sort of, if you're also a creator of a comic book, you're probably going through similar steps that we are. And we just thought it would be a chance to share kind of what we're going through and maybe give us a little advice here and there to people that are also in the same boat.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, I guess, possibly 4 issues, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
Hey, I can count. Kind of this, we finished the artwork and the lettering for these last year,
Yeah.
further back. It's been a while, and so we're having to sort of. You want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward before you, let's say, you're doing a Kickstarter or you're publishing it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So we've gone back. One of the things I had to do was one of our on-demand publishers, I should say, platforms.
One of the platforms we put our work on.
Yes, wants a certain size. So I had to go and resize 88 pages to be that size, which is 7 by 10 and a half. And then do 4 new pages, which were the coming soons,
Yeah.
and set those up and size them, and then kind of go through it. And I swapped out an image on one of the inner pages, inside cover pages, because I was getting kind of debris, or whatever you call it. There's a word for it I'm not getting right.
Artifacting?
Artifacting, yeah. It was artifacting because I think it was a JPEG instead of a TIFF.
Yeah, JPEGs will do that.
So
that's why PNG is a superior image format.
So I replaced it with a TIFF, and it looks a lot better. And then after all that, I made PDFs and gave it to our editor to look at.
Yes.
Paul? So we thought we'd talk a little bit about what you're looking for, because there's nothing worse than getting a newly minted comic book and there's the wrong word, or it's your instead of you are. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. You want to make sure that you're not putting out stuff that people are going to get, oh, this is amateurish.
Right.
And you want somebody, we're lucky that both you and Trevor are grammaticians.
Yeah.
Which sounds like you're burying grammar. But it helps because I have a general idea of grammar, but I'm not like super good at it. You guys are.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
Admittedly, there are some grammar rules that even I'm still not 100% on because it's kind of tricky, but
the Oxford comma and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I still care about it.
Okay. So we thought we'd talk about some of the things you found in one of the issues that you looked at. There was 4.
Yeah.
Thought we'd look at issue 16, see the stuff, and then we're going to talk a little bit about, after you've got it all nice and done, nice and ready to go, before you publish, what you need to do.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to look at issue 16.
Yeah, which is, I love the cover of this. This is really, let's brag about our own stuff. This is really good. So one of the things you brought up was this little, we have a little blurb usually in every issue, except for maybe the first one, talking, kind of give you kind of up to now, catch you up in case you haven't been reading along, or even if you haven't, it's been a while. So you think we need to sort of work on this and make it a little more succinct?
More succinct, and also be careful with comma placement.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that's one thing that we'll be working on. And then on page 9, so we had 8 good pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is 11 on here. Yeah, I figured that out too.
Yeah.
A couple of things was, you think you need a comma after a big magical.
Yeah.
On this, which is great for the audio. If you're listening to this, it's panel 5, page 9.
Yeah.
And then on panel 6, you wanted to touch up some of the dialogue from Mocha.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are things we need to work on. So it's not quite done. And then on page 11, panel 4.
11, which would be.
So when you buy these later and you look at it and you go, hey, they were talking about this. Panel 4, we need to add a space between two sentences.
Yeah, let's see. So page 13.
Yeah.
You said 11.
Oh, that was page 11. I'm sorry. Page 11 did have something.
Yeah.
Add a comma after from Eli's dialogue on panel 4. That doesn't work for, tonight doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So we need to add a comma there. And then on page 13, panel 4. Sorry. It gets confusing.
For here.
Yeah, add a space between two sentences.
Yeah, as you see, it
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
hello, boys, comma, right, period.
Come on.
Words.
Yeah.
Go ahead here,
Space.
Raven.
And then on panel 6, the gulp. You think we need to change how that looks?
Well, it was just a suggestion.
No,
it's more of a preference thing than anything.
Okay. And then on page 14.
Should be the next one.
Yes, it should be. Can we play more with the watt in panel? Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be bigger. Do you think?
I know I've seen an effect in comics before where if there's it depends on how big of a reaction you want the characters to have, but sometimes like the words can kind of escape the balloon
Okay.
a little.
Like what?
Yeah. Emphasizing how big it is. It doesn't have to be that necessarily, but just like something to make it more. I feel like that needs to be more impactful.
Okay. Not a bad suggestion. And then let's see, page 17, panel 4.
17, so that's 19 in the
Yeah,
document.
the PDF. Yeah. Panel 4. Old friend. But I think old friend is not the right word.
Like put old friend in quotes.
Right. I agree. No, it's good. And then, we're not done yet. Page 18, panel 1, 2, and 3 have issues. So panel 1, add a comma. Coming, my
dark-haired beauty.
Yes. And then panels 2 and 3 is the like we have a choice redundant. Oh, I see. I guess we have no choice. And then in panel 3.
Like we have a choice.
Okay. So we need to kind of update the dialogue a little. Or get rid of one of those or something.
Possibly.
Okay. So those were the changes. And then you're also the Dr. Atlas, Dr. Atlas, or Doctor spelled out.
Yeah.
There were 2 occasions in the 3 issues where it was spelled out.
Yeah.
So I printed out those pages and we can just make it be DR. It's easier.
Yeah.
And then later issue, you're talking about all right.
Yeah.
And I think there were 2 times we didn't have the dash, so I printed out those pages as well. So we can just fix those. So that's kind of, a process that takes... So how long does it take you to really to review an issue? I'm not trying to say, how many days it took you or whatever, but I mean, how long does it take you to really sit down and kind of be mindful of all the grammar and all that? Because that's a skill.
Right. Well, first it depends on how much dialogue is in the issue. Like, for example, I believe issue 17 was easier to go through because almost the first quarter of it at least is kind of silent, or there's barely anything there. With a regular issue where there's lots of dialogue, it can take me maybe 20-ish minutes, depending on how dense it is,
Okay.
to comb through it. of course, a little longer to also write the notes down.
Right.
I do that as I go, so I don't have to like keep going
Right.
back.
Okay. So as a we're both writers on this, but as the writer or whatever, you shouldn't, or as the letterer in this case, you should look forward to those kind of comments because
Yeah.
you want to. I like editing because it makes it the best it can be. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You always want to be. I feel like I'm quoting Tony Romo as a quarterback, get better and better, but you want it to be the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Right.
And even if you don't have like the script next to you, you still need to, when you're doing editing, you still need to think about if something doesn't like seem right. For example, in one of the issues, it looked like two of the
Oh,
characters had like the wrong dialogue,
got
like
flipped.
right dialogue, wrong character.
Yeah, got flipped. Yeah. That kind of stuff can happen. But you again don't want that to go out like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a
That's why, even though the letterer is technically the last line of defense with a comic, you should still have your editor, unless you're also the editor, but you need to go through it like one more time.
right. So it's kind of like a beta read.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this sort of just advice that you might want to take to heart. Okay, so before you actually publish it or put it out on Kickstarter or whatever you're going to do with your comic book, you want to get it copyrighted.
Yes.
And this is more than just putting it in an envelope and mailing it to yourself. You really want to go and get a copyright done at the U.S. Copyright Office, and you get a lot of protection that way. It is not a cheap process. I was looking back; we did 2 issues last year, and it was $85. So it's not like people tell you, "Oh, it's $25." It's not. It's like 85.
Is
And,
that put together or individually?
That was together.
Right.
There are different tiers in pricing. I would recommend that you go to copyright.gov. You can also get, I'm sure there are third parties out there. I think I accidentally used one time to get to the very beginning of doing copyrights. Didn't realize I wasn't dealing with the U.S. Copyright Office directly. So you can go, it will cost you more to go through a third party because they'll charge you for doing it.
Yeah.
The Copyright Office, where we've gotten kind of kinked up, I'll say, is using the word work for hire,
Right.
because then they think we're the work for hire, not that we hired people. But we were trying to make the distinction, like the colorist and the artist and the letterer were work for hire, and it tripped them up, and they were coming back to us wanting us to better define that relationship, because we're not the work for hire, they're the work for hire. So it's better, I think, just to avoid that altogether
Yeah.
in your registration. And our experience has been they'll answer your questions once you're in the process. And we did this one time, we were trying to copyright something, and we had asked for advice, and the person told us to with some sort of shortcut registration.
Yeah.
And so we followed that, and the Copyright Office said, when we were all done and we submitted it, said, "Oh, you can't do that." And so we wrote back, and I showed them, I sent them back the email I'd gotten from, it was not there's no like Sam Arnold, or it's this sort of AD or something at the bottom, there wasn't an identifying name, and it comes from the Copyright Office. But I sent them back the email saying, this is what they told us to do, and they went, "Oh, okay," and they let us do it.
Right.
So I find that I'm pleased that they're not this faceless bureaucracy that just steamroll over you or whatever. They seem to actually respond and help you. I believe you can even start the registration and have them help you finish it.
Right.
They have offered that in the past. I assume they do that still now. So it's very important to get it copyrighted, and so I'd recommend that you do that to protect yourself. At least start the process. I know with our first issue, it seemed like it was going to take 6 months to get it copyrighted, and we wanted to get it out. And the advice we got was to wait, but we went ahead and did it anyway because we'd already sent it in to be registered. And I don't think there's a lot of Power Squared comic books coming in, so I think we're safe doing that. But it is important to do, and it's just as a creator-to-creator kind of suggestion, make sure you get it copyrighted.
Yes.
So that's kind of, so we're going to go back and do some editing on our own, have our letter do the correct changes, and then I'll probably have to resize the pages again, and then we're going to get ready to copyright.
Yes.
And then set dates for these releases. We were talking about it before the show. Our last issue came out December 7th of last year. So we're trying to figure out when would be a good time to put out the next issue, and then if we're putting out 3 or 4, how many we want to,
How we
space
want
out.
to space that out.
So they're coming. And so 16 is Mocha and Raven Part 1.
Yes.
And that's coming probably February or March. It's
Yeah.
kind of safe. It's sort of like Invincible late 2023. It's coming.
More or less.
Yeah, more or less. It's coming, late winter, early spring 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for
Alright,
watching.
All right, so if you're watching this on YouTube and you like this, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment below if you've had any, if you want to share any your
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, one of the things I think we try to do with this is have other creators on, talk about things they're going through. So if you're going through this process with your own finished, quote unquote, finished work,
Yeah.
leave a comment. Maybe we can help you with something. You never know. All right. So until next time, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins.
and you've been on the air with Power Squared.